Oh. Okay, Aldine is not able to attend. I am currently contacting a different representative for the SDP. Okay, hold on, let me invite a bunch of people to the stage. Like I said, Aladdin will not be able to be here to represent the SDP, so I'm currently contacting somebody else. Rai has yet to say anything. Darklander, the same, although he is currently in game.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Your boy.
Okay. One of the lovely employees at RazNews is currently streaming the debate. I will link the live stream in the Stage VC channel. I'll also probably link in the news when we actually have everybody here. I have contacted somebody to represent the SDP. They should be here eventually. Simplified Max, thank you so much for joining. Would you be willing to represent the SDP in this debate? Would you be willing to represent the SDP? Uh, okay. Well, that's fine because I'm in contact with somebody else from the SDP right now. Hopefully they get in game soon. Okay, they're in game. They're in game. Okay. And you're in the stage you see. Hello. Hello. Let me invite you to speak. Okay, Jay over here will be representing the SDP in our debate. That is perfectly fine. You can use text to talk. I just need you to do /event and then walk up onto the orange podium. So Jay will be representing the SDP. Budgie Bud has not been in contact with me at all, like even before this started. So I have no idea what's going on. Uh, there will likely be nobody to represent TFC. Rye has not said anything. Rye, who was going to originally represent the NDP, has not said anything. Right, the guy is not online, Discord or on Minecraft. And Darklander is completely AFK. That's lovely. Okay, we'll see if I can get somebody else to represent the WPR. It appears like there are no WPR candidates currently online, or at least none that are in the house, aside from Darklander, who is AFK in the Department of State building. That's great. I will see if I can get one of the candidates real quick. If any of them are online.
I love you comment.
Okay, I have contacted Nova Kerbal. Hopefully, C should be able to take Darklander's place in the debate. Once we get Nova Kerbal in, we'll just be waiting for Rye. But I do not believe that Rye will be able to attend, so I'm going to contact somebody else from the NDP. Let's see here. Okay, Nova Kerbal should be able to take Darklander's place in the debate. I have no... The only other NDP candidate that is running for House is Stanley, but I do not know if Stanley is online. Let me try and DM him. Okay, Nova Kerbal's in game. I will invite you to the stage. Please walk up on the stage and get on the WPR podium. Get onto the podium. Whoa! TNT, please stop being aghast. Yeah, make yourself smaller. So it appears like no NDP candidates are online. I will see if we can get somebody else to represent TFC.
Welcome, Nova.
Okay, I tried to contact Vernicia to represent TFC, but she responded with plainly no. So I will see if anybody else is willing to do that. Okay, I contacted Ratas Ratas Radacep Radaceps, this one guy, to represent the TFC. So hopefully okay. Oh, I'm dead. Okay, so hopefully we should have somebody to represent the TFC. Okay, they're requesting 10 minutes to join. I would not want to wait more, but wish we had somebody to represent NDP, but I do not believe there are any NDP members that are online right now. Well, unless okay, the TFC candidate I just contacted said we can continue without him. So I will try and get into contact with somebody from the NDP. Is there anybody in VC right now who is currently a member of the NDP? Aside from TNT, is there anybody currently in the VC that is a member of the New Dawn Party? I could get EB, maybe, but EB is running for Senate. I suppose we will not have anybody representing the NDP. It would have been nice if most of the candidates came to the debate, but this is fine. Uh, as many as there are candidates. We have plenty of stages. So it appears like we will not have anybody representing the NDP. We will have one guy representing the TFC in about 10 minutes. And but everybody else is able to attend, it seems. Unless we get a surprise last minute person from the NDP, I will just go ahead with the debate. Uh, Agrari, could you please go on stage? Thank you. Okay. It seems like this is mostly going to be via text. Um, but uh, we're just going to go ahead and start now. Welcome to the second annual House of Representatives debate held by RazNews. Before we start, I want to say that RazNews, just like any other news company, doesn't make much money. As such, I ask that at least some of you in the audience donate your money to the RazNews database, or DB, so we can hold events like this and pay our journalists every cent counts. Thank you. Also, CNN is hosting 2 polls about this general election. Go film out. Anyways, on to the debate. I'll be asking the same questions to each candidate from left to right, then right to left in alternating order. Any candidate has the ability to request to interrupt another candidate's answer. I will go ahead and ask the questions. Thank you, Valid Comment, for that $2,000. Um, okay, all right. So for our first question, what is the biggest issue facing Redmont right now, and how do you plan to fix it? Starting with Jay the Fae, you may now answer the question. What's the biggest issue facing Redmont right now, and how do you plan to fix it? Oh, did they? I do not see a. Oh, there we go. Okay. Jay says, personally, I think we as a server should have an issue with approachability for new players. As a socialist party, the SDP stands for equality, which includes setting up better tutorials and guide systems for new players. Thank you for the response, Jay. On to you, Ignite TNT. You may now respond to the question. Ignite TNT says, the biggest issue facing Vermont is DCT inefficiency, especially with regards to pasting. When elected, I will be reforming DCT eviction auctions to only give back 90% to previous owners instead of 100%, so we can boost our constructor pay from 1K per paste to 5K. Alright, thank you for that response. There is no TFC candidate. Nova Kerbal, you may now respond to the question. Oh, Ignite TT, sorry about that. This will encourage overall development and allow for more materials to be bought in the market, which boosts everyone that produces in their pockets. Alright. But for the sake of clarity, when you're done with your response, please, what did we say last time? Yes, please say that you yield your time when you're done with your response. Thank you, Anton. Yes. All right. Nova Kerbal says, biggest issue is the gap between financial slash legal sector wealth and trade jobs, etc., mining and farming. I believe we need to help trade jobs by reducing the oversupply of resources and increasing government consumption. Right, and Nova Kerbal used the time. Thank you for that response. Priceless Agrari, you may respond to the question.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Do you want me to repeat the question?
That's fine. So I think the biggest issue right now is inactivity in our Congress. There's a lot of bills recently that have barely reached quorum or take a little bit to get to. Not so much this term, but previous terms, and I think we need to stay strong whenever we remove them. I yield the rest of my time.
Right, thank you for that response. Bounded comment, you may now respond to the question. Oh, the TFC candidate is here.
Hello.
Hello. Could the TFC candidate please do slash event and get onto the stage?
Yeah, 1 minute. I'm just logging in game.
Okay. A bounded comment says, a lack of recognition for wild towns in Willow. While staff intent means we can't fully recognize them, they should be recognized somewhat for better roleplay. You know, okay. Okay. And the bounded comment yields their time. Thank you for that response. I will be temporarily pausing things until the TFC candidate is able to come here. Okay. Please come on stage. Right, that is all our candidates aside from the NDP. I could not find anybody to represent. As right, the guy was completely gone. Now from right to left, starting with comment. The next question is, what are your thoughts on the struggles to make a good startup business? Alright, bounded comment. You may answer the question. Bounded comment says, speaking from experience, there are lots of dead markets. The only real markets I see for a good business are just another bank or law firm or such. Other companies typically struggle to make revenue from material sales or such from what I know, making it hard to start something profitable for new players, especially ones that can't compete with bank tech. Alright, thank you for that response. Priceless Agrari may respond to the question. Priceless, agree. Priceless, agree. Below.
Sorry, what's the question?
What are your thoughts on the struggle to make a good startup business?
I mean, it's kind of hard nowadays. I see a lot of people making businesses and they fail within the first few weeks. You just have to get into a market that doesn't have a lot of people in it. Going into a law firm is also good business, so I don't I'm not really well versed into that side of the stuff, so I don't have much advice now. I yield the rest of my time.
All right, thank you for responding. Uh, Darklander, you may now respond to the question.
Okay. So, well, I think that the struggles we're seeing in people not being able to get something of their own started, be it a business, or whatever, chess shop, it's because, well, in first place, there's hardly any transparency in what the market conditions are, what the productive forces at play are. So new players just kind of started with things that seem maybe at first glance or they're interested in that a priori or something like that, and they don't know that
Stand
that
up to
is
me.
not going to be financially um what there's going to be
You
sorry
can
so
continue.
sorry yeah so they don't know it's not going to be financially viable, and so they crash and burn, or they don't have a way to access the goods they need or the capital they need, um, which it's a problem inherent to a market economy, of course. Um, and it's also, dude, we have we need more clarity in this process for new players. We need more support, and I think this is best done through more grants and better education. I yield my time.
All right, thank you for responding. Uh, Rada, how do you
Yeah,
pronounce your name?
Rotsepsny.
All
It's
right,
actually inspect. It's just you can say inspector. It's inspector backwards.
Okay, Inspector, you may now respond to the question.
Okay, I think that it's quite hard for new players to start businesses, but I think you can. You just need to focus on a specific market and just really specialize in that. And I think that's the best way to start a business. I don't think that government can really help with that. I think it's just new players need to just really find a market that's not been explored really and like really expand in that market. I'll yield the rest of
All
my
right.
time.
All right, thank you for responding. 19T, you may now respond to the question.
So I
19T says the problem with new businesses is that a lot of people go into markets that are already oversaturated. This ends up with new players not finding the motivation to continue. Uh, Hold on. Ig19T says another problem I see in test ops coming up is the fact that we're about to see a transition to a new business plugin, which will render current test ops signs being useless. True Darklander has requested to interject on your response. True Darklander, what do you have to say?
I wanted to interject on the TFC's candidate answer.
Okay,
In that,
okay. Well
yeah,
then, first let Ig19T finish his response.
yes, yes,
He
yeah.
says another issue is that slash find does not have proper aliases, which makes it difficult to find items. I also find accounting standards to be non-existent, which makes it difficult for new accountants to enter this market and help out expanding businesses. All right, thank you for your response. Darklander, what is your interjection to Inspector's response?
Yeah, so I think that like talking about not finding it hard to start a business because you can just find a niche, that is kind of missing the point as a response to this because the problem precisely is there is no way to easily find a niche if you don't know what's going on, and if you don't know what's going on, who's gonna give you the information to know what's going on? It has to be the state, and has to be the state to support those kind of wacky ideas sometimes than a risk that maybe the individual and any given individual cannot take without state support. So, and this is the ways you can find niches where you can make your own stuff. So saying no, there's nothing the government can do to find niches. It's kind of weird. Then a point it doesn't mean it's kind of missing the point, right? There is you need to find a niche, but it's those niches don't appear out of nowhere. They don't appear out of the ether. They appear, they exist, and they need to be found, and that process needs to be a joint process by the state and the individuals. Ignited. I was not talking about your. I was not answering to you, so I don't know if maybe that's you.
Real quick, a evergreen candidate has just joined the VC and the game, so they will be taking about it Comet's place. Sorry about that. And just in time too. All right. I will invite you to the stage. Get up on your podium.
So yeah. So ignited. I don't know if you don't. Maybe the context is missing because I was not answering to you. And I would say that I actually agree with you in that it's a question of information. Find needs improvement, and yes, the new treasury economy system will probably make some of this stuff harder to see, others easier, and we will need to make sure that the government is up to the task, and so we need proper legislation.
All right. Is that all?
Okay.
All right. Jay the Fae, you may now respond to the question.
I'm sorry.
Jay
I think that Rotevsny wanted to answer.
Inspector, did you want to respond? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you there. I think it's up to the player to find like markets that they can do. I don't think the government should be saying, "Oh, hey, people need to go into this market. There's not enough people." I think that's up to the player, and that's like about the creativity of the server. Like you should be coming up with your own ways to make money. The government should not just be telling you what
Yeah.
you should be doing.
So so just to be clear, that was not my argument. It's not telling you. It's not that the government should tell you what to do, right? It's that it should support you and give you the information it needs to bring you education in the sense of showing exactly what are we going like what are the conditions of the market, so you can find the niche. Because you can't be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't have information, if you don't have clarity, transparency, there's no way you're gonna make the right decision. You need
Yeah,
information
I
and
would
the
agree with that.
accessibility to the information and access to also to capital via grants, which is something the government can do. And it's the government partnering with the individuals, the government making sure you have a base. If you have an idea and the government says like, yeah, that's an idea worth taking a risk on, grants. And if
Yeah,
you can have grants, and so new player grants specifically, you know, to give these new players creativity, new ideas, a chance to exist, to be executed. And the individual can do whatever he wants, of course. But if what we're tackling here is the difficulty in new players in starting their own businesses, we need to address it as a society. and as the government, that is our job. And so it's not about directing the economy. That is what plannings are for. That's larger plannings issues. But we talk about individuals when it just supporting and creating a cooperative relation between the individual businessman and the state. I yield my time, I guess.
I would like to limit that as the last response so that the debate can keep going. Jay the Fae, I'm so sorry, but wait, no, I have it right here. Jay the Fae says, starting a business is difficult because the most profitable businesses, law firms, banks, etc. Oh, wait, no. Wait, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I think so. Okay, no. Starting a business is difficult because the most profitable business, law firms, banks, etc., require significant experience that new players lack. Meanwhile, farmers markets or supply-type businesses have a huge amount of competition and their success. Could you continue with your response, please? Is often characterized either by grueling work for market domination or pure luck. This makes it quite hard for players to profit substantially from startup businesses, and I think it would be beneficial for the government to provide education into entrepreneurship, as the university exam does not prepare players for the reality of business ownership. Okay. Thank you for responding. Hold on.
Market captures
Next
a
question.
very.
What?
So it was a comment. Like market capture is a real problem.
The next question is, how do you seek to address current plot prices? Starting with Jay the Fae, you may now answer the question. Jay the Fae says, I think that buying plots is currently only available to players who have been on the server for a while and have amassed enough funds. Did you yield your time? Is that... This makes it easy to say that plot prices are objectively too high, and I think that the realty market would benefit from designating particular plots to be sold at extra low prices. Okay, thank you for yielding. Hold on. I've just been contacted by an NDP candidate. Okay, never mind. That was a false hope. There will still be no NDP candidate. 19T, you may now respond to the question. 19T says, I don't think there's anything to address on the prices. They've reached their fair market value. We should be doing something about actually developing those plots. Unlike my colleague, Miss Oakridge's campaign terrorist Nova Kerbal, or SDP candidate, say the Fae, I don't believe plots should have lower prices. A plot is a milestone for every player to reach, and it shouldn't be a day one reward they're given. Alright, thank you for responding. Inspector, you may now respond to the question.
So,
Uh,
just speaking from my experience, when I first joined the server, it took a while for me to like gain enough money to buy a house. I think that like there's some good deals that come off, but overall it's pretty hard to buy a property, which I think it is fair. Like that's the market decides the prices of these houses. But I think that the government could expand possibly to make more plots, especially in like Willow. There could be more plots for new players to buy, which would if there's more plots, that would decrease the overall price of plots in general. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Alright, thank you for responding. Darklander, you may now respond to the question.
yeah. So I'm gonna say I do disagree with the notion that plots are reach the fair market value. The fair market value is relative to supply and demand. So we can use supply and demand for the goals that we want as a society. So I don't think it's really but I do believe that we need to lower the prices because it's the way we can still have the plot is an objective, of course, and also, but it's also a necessary tool for both continuing play into commercial plots, and it's also a tool to ground you in relevant. So from a server perspective, server life perspective, accessible plots, more accessible plots is extremely useful, and it's also it's an economically important thing to have because it allows more businesses to exist, to have chat shops, and more ability to role play, certain businesses, um, which is an important factor to consider. It's also important to note that I do think that the city needs to do more evictions, because that's more eviction auctions, because that's what keeps prices lower, and we need them to keep them low. We need to stop them from the rise that they've been doing, and then to make sure that they go down again, because low prices are
19T would
important.
like to interject. You can interject. Go ahead. Epic19T says there's plenty of plots to evict. There's currently a waiting list dating back 2 months. DCT should evict quicker and host the auctions quicker. I yield. 2 weeks, sorry. Okay, Dark
Well,
Minded, may I respond?
yeah. So I mean, he's right. That he's not wrong. These evictions need to these auctions need to happen faster, and we need to evict also with more precision and m- faster, because I feel there's also a lot of plots whose owners have been active, have zero playtime, 1 hour playtime, and they also need to be at least get notice so they can either decide if they want to try to do something to keep the plots,
I'd say
or
the
quit.
go ahead.
We go. Yeah.
Uh, Jay the Fae appears to want to interject.
Yes.
Zip Fae says
Uh,
auctions cannot go faster if no one can afford to bid or buy plots.
but yeah, but so I just gonna say, like, if you have more options, prices are gonna necessarily go down.
This is why I
So
believe that plot prices should be
no,
lower.
Jay, more options is what drops the price, because you're increasing the supply, right? It's because like, if you have more plot options happening at the same time, Ignite TNT, you are not the one who's talking. Please, I am explaining market dynamics. You don't need to say she doesn't understand. Yes. Um,
I
so
misunderstood. Your
yeah,
point makes sense.
yeah.
All right, is that all?
Uh, no, it's not. Sorry, I was gesticulating to my mother, who was told me something. um. So yeah. It's like you have increasing the number of plots being auctioned is what will drop the prices. Now, if we want to have, like, especially like designated lower prices for certain kind of stuff, that's also something it could be done, could be legislated. But that's a more complex solution, which needs to be explored. But the simpler proven solution is faster, more auctions at the same time. More auctions at the same time just means you're flooding the market with a lot of real estate. The price will necessarily drop, and that is, the safe and sound. So more evictions, more eviction auctions, and we cut prices down, so we can have more new players owning their own stuff. I yield my time.
Thank you for responding. Priceless Ligrari, you may respond to the question.
Would you mind repeating it for me?
The question is, how do you seek to address current plot prices?
I think they're honestly fine right now. Not much we can. More evictions is all I can really think of. I think the plot price has gone down enough. Like they said, it should not be like you go in on your first day and you buy a plot. On your first few days, you need to rent. Um, yeah, that's all I can really think of. Yeah, I yield my time.
Thank you for your response. Exclusives, you may now respond to the question. During the most recent presidential campaign, DNN conducted an interview with now President Technofied, where this point was brought up. Tech made his point clear that property should be a goal, not the first thing that should be done when joining the game. It simply isn't feasible. Not the first thing that's be done when joining the game. Simply isn't feasible. Despite this, I do agree with the programs such as new player auctions, which was also brought up in the interview, every once in a while as a way to encourage players to stay on the server. I have my time. Thank you for answering the question, exclusives. Right. Next question is, what makes you or your party the
Sorry,
best? What? Oh,
can I just interject quickly again? Just quickly,
yeah.
simple point. Um, that I still don't agree with the notion that we are at fair market value right now, because it entirely depends on what you want the plots to be. So we want them to be lower than they're now, because we despite, like, if we go from like an art plot in 35K to in 10K, you're still not gonna get it in a day. This is not a point, right? But it 10K is a much more accessible goal, which means that you get a faster you get rooted in Redmond faster, right? So it is important to note what do we want the prices to do for our country, right? I yield. This is all.
I see the press list where I want to interject. Unfortunately, we cannot do that right now. I will be right back. I'll be very quick. I just need a moment to do something in real life.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah,
We should,
TNT kind of out of line. Just like I was kind of, especially considering that I was in the process of just explaining it rather than just
All right, I'm back. Hello.
someone down. No.
Um.
yeah,
All right. Priceless Gar, you may do your interjection now.
we need to keep foreign markets out of our lot auctions. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. All right. The next question is, what makes you or your party the best choice for house? Starting with exclusives, you may now respond to the question. Exclusive says, I like to speak in collective. I am helped by the team. That is my party. So I speak on my party. We are the best because we are grassroots. We support the tradespeople who put significant amounts of effort into spurring Redmond. This is the whole reason I joined the Evergreens. They stuck out to be as a farmer who has always been in the trades. They stuck out to me as a farmer who has always been in the trades. Alright, thank you for responding. Priceless Aguari, you may now respond to the question. No worries, if you want to type out your response, that's perfectly fine. Alright. Yes, there will be a VOD released. Priceless query. Priceless query says, I believe our party is the best because the team as a whole is very active and supports my beliefs. They are experienced people who can help others grow. Alright. Darkland, you said you need to eat there. Does that mean that you'll be skipping these next few questions? I would assume so. Considering the fact you're...
No. I said that you have to read everything because I was on the computer, but I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay. Alright, the next question is... Well, please answer the question, sorry.
Me, matter.
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay. So why you should trust the Workers' Party, the friend? It is very simple, right? We are I know at heart a bunch of goofy radicals that have just proven that we know how to make this work. We know how to govern, and the record in the presidential elections, the record in who who is in the government, the secretary. They are our people. They're competent people, and the legislators that come out of Workers' Party have deep connections with the needs of the common man and understanding of the departments where that legislation will be enacted. So, and we're built from the ground up as a serious group. We take ourselves seriously, we take Redmond seriously, and we take you, the voter, very seriously. So that's why you should believe in the Workers' Party and vote for the Workers' Party. Thank you.
Alright, thank you for responding. Um, Inspector, you may now respond to the question.
Okay, so I think you should vote for the Freedom Coalition due to my running mates as well as our party's experience overall. Some of my running mates, they've had lots of experience in the House and Senate and many different positions, and they have tons of experience on the server. I personally have been helping like Budgie Bud and other people behind the scenes with their bills and stuff like that for Willow, and overall, I think that's just why you should vote for party.
Alright.
Okay, mate. May may I do? I don't know.
Yeah, you can
I don't know
interject if you want to.
interjection makes sense. Yeah, I just want to say like I want to believe that everybody takes Redmond seriously, but I cannot believe that a party whose current leader dissolved the House of Representatives as a joke during is someone who you can take seriously and who you can take seriously as a party. Um, On the rest of the Front Coalition, I cannot speak. They might be serious people, but I can just say that in my experience as a representative, so far not the most serious bunch, which it is what it is. Thank you.
All right, thank you for responding. Inspector, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, can you just give me 2 moments, please?
Sir, do you want me to move on to Ignited?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Right. 19T may now respond to the question. He says, the Redmont Beach Party is the party for those that do not want to worry, because honestly, we only need minor adjustments. Just lay back and relax on our beautiful Redmont beaches and enjoy your day.
May I interject?
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say, who has for the last year built the Redmond we have that you say it's only needs minor adjustments? Has been the Workers' Party. Has been the Workers' Party. So if you want to relax, and you trust that it's things are well, it is in us that you should trust.
All right. 19T, do you have a response to that? He essentially said that the current foundation of Redmont was built by the Workers' Party, and he claims that that is the same foundation that you claim to be perfectly fine and only needing minor adjustments. How do you respond to that?
I'm sorry, I did not understand the I didn't understand. I didn't understand well. Sorry. Um,
19T says it's absolutely correct. Tell me what is not functioning. I don't think you I think everybody's very confused here. Um,
if you're confused, what am I gonna do?
yeah, I'm just
What am
going
I gonna
to read the rest of Ig19T's first response, and then we'll move on to the next candidate.
Yeah,
Furthermore, for
yeah, I
those
don't think.
adjustments, we have our candidates that are specialized in their fields, such as finance and law. All right, and real estate. All right, thank you for that.
Yeah, that would be a good point if we didn't also staff those positions ourselves in the government. So
Uh,
yeah, cool. Sorry.
Inspector has just informed me that they will be AFK for a bit, so the TFC will be skipped for probably next few questions. Jay the Fay, you may now respond to the question. As a representative of the SDP, I truly believe in its values of equality and growth. A member of the HOR's role is to represent the will of the people, and I believe I'm a good candidate for this position because I struggled somewhat as a new player, grew as a small business owner, and have now entered the political side of Vermont. With a party that stands for universal equality, no matter who you are, and a representative who can truly speak in the interest of Vermont citizens, I believe me and my fellow candidates in the SDP are the best choice for House. Alright, thanks for responding. Our next question. Hold on, I've just been told.
May I interject?
The guy just told me the reason he was not able to be here is because he's sick. Uh, right, the next question is, what legislation would you or your party like to pass if elected? Starting with the SDP candidate. Jay. Other. The question was, what legislation would you or your party like to pass if elected? No worries. The question is, what legislation would you or your party like to pass if elected? Lovely. The TFC candidate has just informed me that they will be leaving. And they have just left, so let me just get rid of this. Jay, what is your response to the question? Jay says, I've been asked about legislation regarding realty, specifically requiring realtors to join brokerages or enter more binding contracts instead of selling on their own. The idea is a sort of quality control, and I think this would be a viable option if I were to be elected. Rye, the guy, has just arrived, and he will be representing the NDP. Faye says, I'd also like to pass legislation that requires new players to be given more directions when they first join. As in my experience, it's hard to learn about particularly the political aspect upon joining the server. I have the rest of my time. Thank you so much for responding, Jay. I will invite Rye up onto the stage to represent the NDP. Rye does not appear to be in the stage we see.
Until he joins. It's still the no debate party. I like to mess with the NDC.
Okay, Bachipa just told me they are not able, he's not able to attend.
TFC.
Yes, Budgie Bud, who was originally intended to represent the UFC, will not be able to attend. Right. Please join the stage we see. Alright, let me invite you on the stage. Okay, Butchie Bud has just said that he is in the thick of it. Everybody knows, and that is why he is not able to attend. Alright. 19T may now respond to the question. The question was, what legislation would you or your party like to pass if elected? 19T says the RPP wishes first of all to change eviction payout from 100% to previous owner to 90%. That 10% should be used to boost post request pay.
So to clarify, that would mean 10% eviction,
Yep.
auction tax.
The RPP wishes first of all to change eviction payout from 100%. Yeah. Secondly, we would very much want to amend current copyright law to extend to builds made by constructors. Thirdly, we want to craft legislation to properly lay out accounting standards as well as guides for aspiring accountants. On another note, I would like to give my SDP colleague some credit for coming up with a realty proposal that makes sense. Sadly, I fear he's in the wrong party as his leader does not represent his values. I yield. Alright, thank you for responding. I may now respond to the question.
Who may?
Right.
Right. Guys in the VC, but he's not talking.
Right, you didn't mention if you would be talking or using text. If you're gonna use text,
Hello?
please. Oh, hello.
Hello, we
Good
hear you.
question.
The question was, what legislation would you or your party like to pass if elected?
Yeah, okay. So first off, I want to pass legislation to provide prisoners with a little bit more opportunity. Um, I know right now, currently, they can only do mining, and I think it would be nice if they could do other tasks such as like farming or whatever. And then I think they aren't provided with any food in prison right now. They can only like farm like the glowberries. So I want to provide them with like free food in prison just to make sure that they aren't starving. Second of all, I want to introduce legislation to make sure that police are able to catch the criminals. I mean, oh, sorry. Currently, I think police are a little restricted by what they can do, especially whenever it comes to getting warrants and like show of force. Uh, so allowing the police to have like more tools to catch these criminals would be an awesome idea. Just because there are a lot of prisoners that are um, getting away with like murder. I mean, you see Roy racking up over 100 points, so I don't think that should be possible.
Thank you for responding. For clarity, whenever you're done for response, please say that you yield your time.
Yeah, you.
Darklander, you may now respond to the question.
That's time.
Okay. So, George's party has passed a lot of legislation this term. I've worked with many people in passing legislation term, and what I would personally like to pass is, this we have been working on, which is a rationalization, clarification, and expansion of the DOC's powers to ensure we never have a crisis like with Vanguard. And I want to you know, establish the DOC as the sole regulator against the moves of other parties towards making the FRB a regulator, which I think makes no sense in terms of who has the political responsibility to the public, which is the executive and the legislative branches, not an arm's length body. And it's and we're working towards, depending on the conditions, of course, the material conditions will dictate what we do, towards an elimination of balance taxes, right? Elimination of balance taxes and reworking the tax system. It's one of our goals that we established as a party collectively on our latest convention, and we will carry it out if the conditions show themselves to be the correct ones. Because after all, we have to be, pragmatic and rational about what happens, even if our ideology is like radical. The practice always has to be pragmatic, and that's why the legislation we will pass will reflect this dialectical process of evolution. And sorry, I don't have a satisfactory way to finish that sentence, so I yield my time.
You just suffocated in the States. Exclusive, could you please get back onto the States? Exclusives, please get back to your podium.
Sorry, I'm
Like
trying
he's
my best.
lagging
I
pretty
was
bad.
killed.
What was that?
I'm trying my best. I just got killed, so
Yeah, no worries, no worries. A lot of murderers. Because I think the plugin got disabled. But Priceless Aguirre, you may now respond to the question.
sorry. What was the question? I got a little frazzled there.
What legislation would you or your party like to pass if elected?
I think the main thing I want to do is ban AI from like motions and verdicts and stuff from court cases. I think it's disrespectful to the people that spend hours and hours on this stuff and then it's just ruined by slop, pretty much. I, even though this would be kind of hard to enforce since AI checkers aren't super accurate, I think that there's also a bunch of other crimes that are. Yes, I think I would ban AI for journalism. Yes, it would be hard to enforce, but there's so many other crimes that are kind of hard to enforce. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much. Oh my gosh, I wasn't a police officer. I'd kill all these people. Oh shoot, my mic's sent.
Thank you for
Oh
responding.
yeah, yeah. I yield my time.
Alright, thank you for responding. Exclusives, you may not respond to the question. Hopefully we don't get nuked. This is a hard choice due to the great policies that the Evergreens has put out. Implementing legislation regarding the establishment of international roleplay and official communications with Wild Towns would definitely be a big one, though. Our party takes great notice towards Wild, and continuing to support the Wild is a must. Furthermore, it simply adds fun to the server. I don't wish to bore anyone. Our policies can be found anywhere, but obviously further supports to the DOI and will residents, as well as those who speak in the trades, are just as important. And legislation surrounding this will be introduced with an Evergreen representative. Thank you for well, you haven't yielded your time, so you're probably okay. All right. Thank you for responding. Our next question is: if there was a bill that you agreed with, but your party opposed, would you still vote with your party? Exclusives, you may now respond to the question. Exclusive. This is honestly a hard question, but yes, if I believe that it'll do the right for the people for Redmont, I'm willing to vote for it. I would have extensive discussions with my party regarding this, hoping to ensure peace. Oh, Jay, you're leaving? Alright, well, that means that we no longer have an SDP candidate. I'm a representative of the people. That is my number one job. I yield my time. Thank you, exclusives. Priceless Agrari may now respond to the question.
This is by far the easiest question I've been asked today. There is a term I refer to as blind voting, which is voting for candidates or policies based on your friends or your party endorsing them. Following these is dangerous because you're not following the will of what you think the people is, you're following the will of the other people in your party. I would obviously debate with my fellow party members on this subject, but there's I don't see a reason in doing what my party wants if it's not what I think is best for democracy and people. It is my job as representative to represent people, not just my friends. I yield the rest of my time.
Alright. Exclusives has requested to interject. You may now interject on Priceless Agrari's answer. I assume the easiest question was a slight dig towards me. My party is still highly important to me, hence why this question was so hard. Help me build this campaign, and if showed me full support, it would be understandably uncomfortable going against the wishes of my party. Yes, Priceless Agrari, you may now respond.
That was certainly not a dig towards you. I respect your party. In fact, I'm part of your party. They do give support. They give ideas. They give everything that you need to be successful. It's kind of hard nowadays to be independent. It would be uncomfortable, but we should always do what is best for the people. As the rest of my response.
Right. We'll now move on to, well, I must agree with you. I'm glad that we do so agreement. Darklander, you may now respond to the question.
May the question be restated?
If there was a bill that you agreed with, but your party opposed, would you vote with your party?
Okay. Well, in my case, I would probably, it would depend on the level of disagreement and the nature of disagreement. Because if it's I personally agree with it, but it goes against the principles or the program my party decided democratically, right? Because democracy is core. I cannot go against the voters and my party, even if I personally maybe I agree with it. And I can have an example of this, right? That's the I voted for the Terminating Online Act, right? That it repealed the touch grass act, and I really like the touch grass act. I thought it was like it was funny, right? It was funny. It was like an but it was unenforceable, right? And so you know, to have a serious system, we can have unenforceable, illogical laws in our books, even if I find them funny, personally. So in this case, I voted for the repeal, and it's important that we and that we also seek, you know, to make our voices heard, make our differences heard, but also don't act like broke individuals. We are part of. We were elected on a ticket. We were elected on the basis on the promises of certain ideals, and we cannot detract the ideals of the party we represent or of the people that voted for us representing those ideals. Especially when these ideals, are specifically, developed democratically, organically. In which case, going against that may, in some cases, represent a betrayal of the democratic systems that brought you to the House of Representatives. So yeah, that is my response.
All right. Rai, you may now respond to the question. Please do not kill everyone.
Oh, she's serious. Um, Wait, could you say the question one more time?
If there was a bill that you agreed with, but your party opposed, would you vote with your party?
Um, I mean, I do look to my party for a lot of guidance and support, but at the end of the day, I do serve the people, not my party. So if it was something that was ultimately going to even the long term, I would vote against my party's wishes. Good the rest of my time.
All right, thank you for responding. 19T, you may now respond to the question. All right. Uh, Thank you for that response. Our next question
What?
is,
Sorry, what was the response? Sorry.
uh,
You,
yeah, I apologize, but I cannot read that loud. Not this moment. Our next question is, what are your opinions on the current taxation system? Do you plan on changing it? Uh, Ig19T may respond to the question. Yes, get rid of corporate balance tax. It's an inconvenience that is evaded anyways. Alright, thank you for responding. Ra, you may now respond to the question.
I think that we should make taxes fairer. Um, I also think that we should like change the system just because it's so easy to avoid it anyways. I know the past I may or may not have used businesses to avoid taxes. Um, so I think we should
I
be able
admit,
to.
I admit, I couldn't.
So yeah, I give the rest of my time.
All right, thank you for responding. Dark Lantern may now respond to the question.
All right, so I do believe that if we're gonna make away with balance taxes, we all balance taxes. I don't understand why we would only go after corporate balance tax. That seems extremely, extremely weird, extremely very specific in an incorrect way. Why only corporate balance tax? Why not all balance tax, right? So yeah, um, we would seek to eliminate balance taxes and replace them with a series of transactions taxes. In a way, there's I don't know there's room for discussion on what replaces balance taxes. Maybe an aggravated region tax is in the cards, but we need to figure out what are the material conditions, what are the staff conditions, what are the plugin conditions to understand truly how we would do that. But we will seek as a medium-term goal to abolish balance taxes as a whole.
Okay. Thank you for responding. If that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yes, I get my time.
All right, thank you for responding. Priceless Agrari may now respond to the question.
Sorry, what was the question?
The question is, what are your opinions on the current taxation system? Do you plan on changing it?
I don't see any point in changing it. It's all fine to me. I mean, I, maybe a little more property tax. That's about it. I yield my time.
All right, thank you for responding. Exclusives, you may now respond to the question. Currently, me and the Evergreens has no plans to change taxes, though we do have other economic plans to support our working class. If it becomes an issue in the future, I'm more willing to hear all sides. I yield my time. Thank you for responding to the question. All right, our next and last scripted question is, how do you plan to communicate and work with the Senate? Exclusives, you may now respond to the question. Rye, before you leave, can you answer this one last question? Just real quick. Alright, question... Oh, you're not on the VC. Exclusive says, as a party, we currently endorse a member of the party for Senate. Unity overall. I'm capable of working with other parties, so I know that I'll be able to collaborate with other Congress members coming to compromises will also be necessary. Hold on. Let's let Rye answer this question before he leaves. Alright, anyways.
Okay. I usually contact the Senate on a regular
No, Price
basis.
Sagari, before you respond, we need to get Rye to answer this one last question.
Oh
Because he's
shoot,
going
my
to
bad.
leave.
Yes, sorry.
it appears like Rai was not able to answer the question in time because he is now gone. So, Priceless Agari, you can respond.
My apologies.
Of course.
I talk to the Senate whenever I feel the need to. I feel I can do the same during my time. I assume Talion will probably get elected once again, since he is such a capable candidate, and keep good relations most of the time, so they can be able to listen to me. That's about it.
Right. Thank you for responding. Darklander, you may now respond to the question.
Yes. May you restate the question? I think I have got the
How do you
question, but
plan? Sorry.
yes. No, no. Go
How
ahead.
do you plan to communicate and work with the Senate?
Oh, with the Senate. Okay. So, I mean, I think it's the most natural thing is sometimes the Senate, a senator writes something, they send you something for comments. Sometimes they ask you to explore things in there instead because the legislative, the House has legislative initiative, not the Senate. But how I work with Senate is how I've worked with the Senate is. So I talk with some senators, the senators I trust the most, see what the chances are of something or passing or help writing legislation, um, to ensure that no one in the Senate has any issues, any major issues, or not enough people in the Senate rather, because sometimes you make legislation, some people, some senators off. It's not you just have to piss off. Oh, you can piss only two senators. Piss three of three cards. But yeah, so yeah, it's a relationship which I don't have a relationship with the Senate. I have a relationship with senators, right? Because I don't think you really can have a relationship with the body as a whole at once. So it's about communication with the individual senators, right? That is how I deal with Senate. I yield my time.
Thank you for responding. Rai is no longer here. Oh,
In memoriam.
all right. Hold on. Ig19T, you may now respond to the question. 19T. Please come to your podium. Oh, he says we will become the Senate. No, but seriously, bipartisanship is important there, and I think that with the current people already there, we do beautiful things for Redmond. And otherwise, we just bribe them. I yield. All right, thank you for responding. That is our last question that is currently in the script. Uh, if the audience has any questions, I will ask them to the candidates. If anybody in the audience has a question they want to ask the candidates, all right, MJ, what is your question? MJ, I'll type out your question. What will you be? What will you do about the murder problem? Um, exclusives does not appear to be here. Uh, exclusives, could you please come to your podium? Still in the VC. I think they disconnected. Well, in that case, we're probably gonna be skipping audience questions then. Um, well, Ig19T says I will put WTTC2 and Roy in jail. That will solve 97% murder. All right. Well, with no more questions, I will, thank you to the audience for attending. Make sure to attend the TPA Senate debate, which will be held sometime after this one. You're all free to leave. Yet again, thank you for coming. Have a great day, everyone. Happy voting. The stream will be linked in news after we're done. That way you can watch through the entire thing. And then I will also hold a poll, since exclusives recommended that. I will hold a poll for the audience to answer on which candidate won the debate. Thank you all for attending yet again. If I had a sponsor message, I would say it now. But yeah, happy voting. I will be going now, and somebody
Thank
said.
you.
I already mentioned the
Thank you.
CNN poll, but I will mention it again. The CNN is currently holding 2 polls about Congress. Go answer them. I will also put my own poll
Thank
about who won. Thank you all for responding. And also, like I said, live stream will be linked so you can all watch through the entire thing. Thank you. Have a great night, day, afternoon, whatever.
See you, Raz.